This segment is brought to you by Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. All right, welcome back. It's time for Good Vibes. I'm Martin Falls. Joining us, as usual, our transformation coach, Debbie Cox-DeNova is in the house. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Looking vibrant.
Thank you.
All right, there you go.
Vivacious.
I love this topic because we're not just talking about the kid on the playground stealing the kids' marbles.
Yeah.
This can go on through life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does.
Stopping bullies.
Yes. Okay. And so to your point, the childhood bullies tend to grow up to be adult bullies in more sophisticated ways. So it's harder to identify, but you can feel it when someone's bullying you, right? And the reality is that children who bully to begin with have some pain behind that. We all know that, right? Hurt people hurt people. So a lot of times there are things happening at home, and the bullies take it to school and they project outward in order to sort of equalize the scales, in order to actually make themselves feel significant or important or have positive attention for certain groups of people. So all of this information, by the way, comes from Chase Hughes, who I actually currently obsessed with. He was actually, when we talked about manipulation, he was also the person that I looked into. He's the #1 behavioral expert in the entire world. Wow. So if you are interested in this topic, or especially if you have somebody that is bullying you, I would highly recommend.
How would you like to be married to him?
Right, really, really, because it's incredible the things that from observing human behavior that he's come to. And one of the things that he says is that, there are two mindsets when we're talking about, dealing with people. And the more authoritative mindset is collaborative. So we have competitive or collaborative, right? And the way that people oftentimes look at or react to bullying is that they will step into the frame. We talked about someone setting out a frame for us, right, to step into. And bullies really set out a frame a lot of times of intimidation, of judgment, insult. And so what people will do is they'll naturally step into it unconsciously with a defensiveness or a fight or flight experience, or they'll think that in order to make themselves feel big again, they have to make the bully feel small, which of course has them stepping into the frame of becoming a bully too, right? But a more authoritative mindset is a collaborative mindset, to understand that there is pain and harm that has been done to this person, to have them showing up like this, and to de-escalate it as much as possible and hold in the authoritative position really is to call out the behavior in a constructive way that allows them to save face. Now, that's not something that most people want to hear, because if you're being bullied at the receiving end of a bullying, it actually hurts a lot, and your egoic response is to actually go into that fight or flight with them. So this is a call for you to actually think about this and strategize while you're not being bullied. I assume everyone at home right now is not being bullied in this particular moment. Create a strategy for yourself that feels really good as we go through these things. Okay, so think about two animals, Chase Hughes says, Chihuahua and a porcupine. Both of them, when they're operating out of fear, can become bullies. The Chihuahua is very loud, very rambunctious, makes a lot of noise, a lot of activity, right, to actually scare somebody away. The porcupine has been hurt by someone or something, and so anytime anyone gets close enough, they actually use their quills to harm anyone who comes close to them, okay? So when we're talking about bullies, they usually fall into these two categories. Why do people bully them? Well, there are a number of reasons why. The first one is a loss of feeling of control. Somewhere along the line, they feel out of control. So even we're talking about like road raging bullies, people who are on the road are just like shifting lanes. Somewhere in their life, they do not feel in control, and they are taking it out in this arena, so to speak, okay?
We all have a friend who you don't want to drive with.
Truth. It's the truth. So just know that, like, there's a loss of feeling control. Number two is personal injury. Somebody has harmed them, and in their mind, egoic mind, they're thinking, if I can harm someone else, if I can hurt someone else, then I equalize the scales, even if it's not the same person who hurt me. Okay. Number three, wanting to make themselves feel significant. And sometimes what people will do is that they'll come at you in order to insert significance into your world. So you're doing something, this happens online a lot, you put something out there and a troll comes into the comment feed and says something. Now you're like, what? All of a sudden you're thinking about this person, the comment that they made, because we have negativity bias, right? You're thinking, why did they say that? What's happening here, right? Well, they have just inserted significance into into your world. So if they feel insignificant on this end, that gives them an egoic sense of, now I have significance to this other person. Number 4, you feels more insecure than you. So if you're showing up confidently, successfully, a bright light, right? And someone has a sort of feeling of like that makes them feel like insecure, then what they will do is that they will come and try to dampen your enjoyment, try to dampen your success, because in their minds, that is an equalizer. If you're not quite so bright, if I can make you feel not quite so bright, I don't have to feel so dim. Does that make sense? Okay. Obviously, these are very unconscious patterns because no one in a conscious mind would try to make someone lower in order to make themselves feel higher. They feel small or vulnerable. So in order to make themselves feel bigger, again, instead of actually just working on themselves, they feel like they have to push other people down in order to have that. And then there's the secret shame. Something that they're ashamed of within their own life is at play. No one knows about it, but they make fun of other people or they point at other people because in their minds, if I'm making fun of it, it doesn't apply to me. So if I can point it out in someone else, then obviously that's not who I am. And that usually will amplify for conscious people what the secret shame actually is.
I already know what I'm going to lead in when we come back for part 2.
Awesome.
It's good. All right. Stopping bullies is the topic today, and we'll be right back. This segment was brought to you by A.J. Doman Chevrolet. We say yes when others say no. All right, we are back, and the topic is stopping bullies. Debbie Cox-DeNova is in the house, and all right, here's a scenario. No matter what the situation is, sometimes somebody will give me a compliment. Could be in a department store, could be at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I have this tier group of friends that will always be my friend, but there's this one in particular person that will always take that compliment and try to conquer it.
Yeah.
And I always look at that person, I always go, you know, jealousy does not fit you well. And it ices the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you diffuse them, put it back on them,
Yeah.
then they think about it the next time they do it.
Yeah, for sure. So the thing about a bully is that they need their victims to be a victim, right? In order for them to actually feel that egoic hit. The more that you raise the activity up to the level where, especially when there are other people around, because a lot of bullies they'll do their bullying in front of a group, right? There's some sort of, they need a sort of audience in order to actually feel.
Cowardly line.
Yes, exactly. Like to feel this false sense of empowerment, they need the other observers to see it, right? So if you can raise what's really happening up to the level where the audience can actually inspect it, it's no longer interesting for them. It's a de-escalation process that allows them to understand that, like, the more I continue doing this, the more I'm feeding into the fact that I'm actually bullying right now, right? Now, what if they're aggressive? And Chase Hughes says that there is, in order to actually deal with someone who's aggressive, you want to remember de-escalation and collaboration is the rule. So you're going to keep steady eye contact. And we're talking about this with manipulators too. You want to keep steady eye contact, but not in an aggressive way, right? A calm way. And you want to actually do a number of steps. First, you want to ask them, just remember, you're either going to open them up or you're going to shut them down. Those are the two options with the bully. You either open them up or shut them down. De-escalation oftentimes happens with a shutdown. But you can ask probing questions. Remember we talked about Tom Cruise and how he actually handled the reporter who squirted him in the face with a pretend microphone. And instead of him escalating, he said, hey, well, why did you do that? Right? He actually inquired about it. So this goes to that steady eye contact, and then ask, did you intentionally say that in a fill in the blank kind of way? Did you intentionally say that in a demeaning way? Right? And then the next order of business would be, what would you like to actually get out of this interaction? Now you're actually asking them, what is your intention here? Right? And then 4, this didn't seem like an attempt to gain conversational dominance until just now. Is everything okay? Now notice how I am actually working to help them to actually save face, right? I'm not putting them down. I'm not stepping into their arena of back and forth. I'm literally asking them to open up. Now that's not as interesting to a bully, especially if they're not ready to have a conscious conversation about what's going on. So oftentimes that'll diffuse it. So remember that there are 4 types of bullies. There's one that has a fear of loss, the kind that fears loss. a fear of being hurt, a secret shame, and also a hidden or secret fear. Okay, those are the motivators. Those are the different types for the bullies. Now, opening up or shutting down, those are the two different options. And there are some actual scripts that Chase Hughes gives that you can actually use. This is especially if you have children at home who are being bullied, you can actually just in front of other people, actually bring it to the light of truth. So I'm truly sorry for whoever hurt you, but it wasn't me.
Yeah. That's a doozy.
That's a doozy.
Yeah.
And you can say, and you want to make sure you're checking yourself, that you're saying that from a place of genuine, like, I'm truly sorry for whoever hurt you.
See, I would take it a step further. I'm truly sorry for whoever hurt you, but now I know why they left you.
So then, okay, so watch this, because you want to make sure your intention is right? Like, so if you say something like that and you go back in, now this is fine in the context of like friends who like to roast, and because then the conversational game is to kind of do a back and forth, the ribbing kind of thing.
That would give the real bully ammunition.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're in a real conversation with a bully and you start with like, oh, like, I'm truly sorry for whoever hurt you, but I'm sure you deserved it or something like that.
Right.
You're now going into the bullying role with like, you're kind of taking the bully role to yourself, right? So you just want to watch the intention. It's always about the intention. Okay.
It was fun thinking it.
Exactly. And then does it make you feel bigger or more accepted by people when you do this? Right? Whoever hurt you, I promise it wasn't me. We all have a lot going on back at home, and I guess some people bring it to school and some people choose not to. Okay. What's going on for you that you're turning into this person? I know that you're a lot better than than this person. Okay, so like if you actually have a history with them and they've been cool, you can actually speak to how you have known them to be. There must be something going on for you.
This would be good debate stuff.
Yeah.
Presidential debates, president debates.
Right.
You just calmly diffuse them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's like you keep things on the main thing, right? Because if you're in a debate, a lot of times they'll do that ad hominem thing where they attack you instead of talking about the issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry you live in a negative world, but I live in a positive world, so,
Right.
Yeah.
So are you worried that you're that you're going to be hurt if you're kind to people? I can promise you all of these people will still think you're cool or tough if you're just kind, if you're just yourself. And then one of the main things that he said is that you want to say, look, and use a person's name. Look, Martin, I know there's a lot of people here that respect you and you're a very respectable person, but it's a Tuesday afternoon. We're about to go to lunch and you're over here making mean comments to me to look cool in front of people. Can we do something different? Can we not do this, right? So you're pointing out three things, using their name and asking them to move to a different thing. Hold us polite.
I love it. There you go. Stopping bullies. We'll see you next week. This segment was brought to you by Cypress Stop, home of the happy customer.